What is happening, everybody? All right, so one of the latest rumors has been that Mopar is actually going to release a 426 Hemi, and that engine is going to make it into the Challengers and Chargers. I think it's supposed to have its release in the Ram. It might be an introductory engine into a possible Hellcat option for the Ram trucks. That's great. A lot of folks are kind of doing the lateral thinking thing here and saying, well, yeah, it might make it into the Challenger and the Charger. And as excited as that concept is, and of course, if they do, yeah, I'm on board all the way, but I've got my own reservations about it. So figured I would chat with you guys and get y'all's ideas on this as well. But first of all, let's look at the 392. Look, the car is no slouch as it sits, but in the landscape of the 2018 Mustang and, of course, the Camaro Super Sport, it definitely lags behind in a few areas. Now, yeah, stock for stock, they'll hold their own just fine with the other two makes, but reality sets in once you throw, I don't know, a sticky tire on the thing and take it to a drag strip. The reality is that it is going to play at least second fiddle, if not third, depending on what minor modifications may be done to that Mustang or Camaro. And of course, Mopar is noticing this, and to keep with the pace, they're going to have to do something a little bit different with that 392. Well, if they ditch the 392 in favor of the 426, you get the benefit of displacement, torque, horsepower goes up from there. But will it be enough to actually maintain a competitive advantage? I don't know. Possibly, but it's going to have to do something else. It's going to have to lose a little bit of weight. Now, will that package come with the aluminum block from the drag pack? That's the big question here, because it leads into a completely different conversation, and that is in cost. But let's get to that later. Let's just talk about the engine as it sits. Let's say they do use the iron block, throw a stroker setup in it, and give you your 426 cubic inches. Well, fantastic. Now that we've got the power, what are we going to do with it? These things don't hook to begin with. You have to have a drag radial to get the thing to hook on the drag strip. You certainly need it to hook on the street. So I don't know that more power is necessarily going to be the answer when you consider the fact that all that power just going up in smoke isn't going to do us a whole lot of good. But get the thing on a tire, get it on a prepared surface, and yeah, that 426 may yield some improvements. Yeah, I'd venture to guess and say that somewhere around 435 horsepower to the rear wheels on a Mustang dyno would be about the number you would see, give or take. But that number, if it doesn't translate into quarter mile times, isn't going to mean anything, especially when you're staring at the taillights of one of those Mustangs drifting off into the horizon. So hopefully Mopar will think this through a little bit. 426 is nice, but it's got to be able to perform, and it's got to be able to have at least a staggered wheel set to where guys can put at least a 305 on the back of it and not have to worry about going to, I don't know. Let me put it like this. If you go to like one of the major chain stores, you can't put, and we're talking about, tire shops, you can't put a 305 on a 9.5-inch wheel. You've got to have, I believe, at least a 10.5-inch wheel for them to mount it. That's just rules, right? You can always take your tires to a local shop, which you should do anyway, support your local businesses, and they'll typically take care of you. But the reality is that the contact patch isn't all that great. At least it's not optimized, let's put it that way. So, all that being said, put together a decent staggered wheel and tire package on the thing. But I'm hoping that the rumors are true. I would love to see a 426 in the Challenger. But let's kind of get into the cost thing for just a second. First of all, what I'm hoping is that the 426 doesn't turn into a halo type of a car. Anybody remember when the Z28 was released? That was really weird for me. It was weird in a couple of ways, but the biggest one was you could get a ZL1 for less than a Z28. Didn't make a whole lot of sense, but the 427 was in the Z28. It came with a bunch of handling doodads. And yeah, it was a fantastic car. But when you price it above a supercharged vehicle in the same platform, it makes it kind of tough to argue for that particular car, which kind of brings me to, I guess, the realization that, or at least I don't know, the state of mind that if they did something like that, in other words, you have to buy a wide body kit and it's only going to be available in, I don't know, let's say a setup that's not really what I'm looking for. Well, then that's really going to suck. And it's going to be bad because it's going to alienate a lot of Mopar potential buyers. If that were to be the case, and of course I'm not saying that it is, everything's speculative at this point, but I can just kind of see the wheels turning. 426 is available. Great, but you have to have a wide body kit. I'm not so sure that I wanted that. Also, let's pretend for just a minute that they did the right thing and introduce it in an aluminum block. Well, that's fantastic, but that adds cost. And if they made you buy it in a wide body kit, that adds cost. So you throw, all the SRT suspension bits on it, throw the 6-piston brakes on it, everything else. Next thing you know, you've got an obnoxiously expensive car just to have that 426 nameplate. I'm crossing my fingers that that's not going to be the case, because that would put the car in the same, it put it in the same light as that Z28 was, except obviously it's heavier. It wouldn't handle as well. I mean, look, even with an aluminum block, the car's still heavy, or would still be heavy. So there's at least that to consider as well. Now, again, talking stock for stock, the 392 is already a really stout engine, and, well, the HP70 is a fairly stout transmission, but it's not the HP90. If they're going to put the 426 in anything, it had better come with the HP90 transmission. It's got to at least be able to handle the power that it's going to make. And look, guys, I'm around this stuff every single day. And I hate to break this to you guys, but there's only so much power that HP70 is going to be able to handle. Typically on a Mustang dyno, it will start to slip. It will begin to fail to be able to hold the power somewhere around 550 to 560 pound-feet of torque to the rear wheels. Guys, we already know what happens when you throw a supercharger on a 392. Yeah, let's not even get into that. So try doing the same thing to a 426. That transmission is never going to hold. But even in stock form, you're talking about an engine, I think it's rumored to be 5 1/4 horse, maybe 5 1/4 torque is what it's probably going to be rated at, or at least that's my understanding. You are already getting desperately close to the limitations of what that transmission can handle. Throw the HP90 in it, for crying out loud. Those things are known to be able to handle quite a bit of power before they finally give up the ghost. Also, will it ever be in the cards to put, I don't know, maybe a better drive shaft in these things? Look, you put a sticky tire on a Hellcat and it's just a matter of time before you're snapping a drive shaft. Now, granted, a 426 wouldn't be making quite that much power, but still, you have to look at it from the point of view that if you're buying an upgraded engine and you're buying this, legend is what you're going to be buying into, at least give us the best bits that you can throw at it. I don't know, been making some demons for a while. They seem to be doing fairly well. Throw some demon parts at this thing. Make it interesting. Don't just make it a bump in displacement to try to keep up with the Joneses when you've got tuners out there. Bites Performance Tunes has been working on my car for some time. Seems to be running pretty well. We're doing just fine with the 392s. Yeah, we can do better with a 426. But there's the catch. See, look, it's nothing except for money and paying somebody to, put the package together for you. But yeah, you can put together a 426 stroker very easily out of a 392. So when you start to look at the cost of it, well, it makes you kind of wonder where it's really going to fall in line. Would you rather have a 426 built from your 392 that will outperform a stock 426, or would you rather buy that 426 and have it be a new car as delivered with a 426? I don't know, but I can tell you this. The cost of that thing is probably going to be astronomical, and I have a feeling it's going to alienate a lot of very faithful Mopar owners. Hopefully I'm wrong. Post up your comments. Let me know what you think. Y'all have a great one. Adios.